These last few months have been filled with ocean-related incidents. We've seen the Cameron Robbins incident and the OceanGate incident. But today, we're covering an ongoing story that is more terrifying than either of those: the Paria diving incident. In this particular event, we'll be taking a look at the horrific footage captured by those involved in the accident to get a glimpse of what they witnessed firsthand. Before we jump into the video, I have a quick announcement that I want to make. So I'm proud to announce that I recently teamed up with Inviz to bring you guys a new amazing line of ScareTheater merch. If you go to ScareTheater.shop, you can actually look at all of the designs that we have right now. So this first shirt right here is called Observer. This is really cool. I'm actually wearing it right now. It's basically just like a riff on the ScareTheater logo, so it's pretty cool. And the second one is, sorry, I took it like that because I was trying to intimidate Nexpo for the fight. My bad. But that is the that's the theater tee. That one's pretty cool too. And then we also have this one, the Paranoia shirt. And then, yeah, this one's pretty sick. And then the other Paranoia shirt, which you're looking at right now, I don't have that one yet because we had to do a redesign on it, but you can still buy it right now on the website, and I'm really excited to get that one soon. So yeah, if you go to just ScareTheater.shop, you can look at all of them right now and support the channel. And of course, if you send me a picture of you wearing it on Twitter, then I will put you at the end of one of my videos, just like this guy right here. On February 25th, 2022, an oil and gas company called Paria Fuel contracted a team of 5 divers to do some maintenance work for them. Unbeknownst to the divers involved, this would lead to the most frightening day of their lives. The Paria Fuel Company had a series of pipelines in the ocean that were used to transport oil from their ships onto land. On this particular day, they needed maintenance done on one of these pipes that was called berth number 6. This pipeline was different from the others in that it hadn't actually been active since 2018. This 1,200 foot long, 30-inch wide pipe had just been sitting in the water, with the end out at sea poking above the water, and the end closest to shore plugged up with an inflatable cork and submerged underwater. Attached to this section of the pipe was an underwater habitat that acted as an air pocket. This was done so that if maintenance was needed for future use, like today, a maintenance diver could simply swim down into the habitat to work on the pipe from there. Paria wanted to reactivate berth number 6, so they hired a company called LMCS Limited to employ 5 divers to perform maintenance on the pipe. These 5 divers were Christopher Budrum, Faisal Kurbin, Kazim Ali Jr., Yusuf Henry, and Rishi Nagasar. This was not their first job together, but it would prove to be the most difficult. The team got together and made their way to the underwater habitat located at berth number 6. All they had to do from here was pull a lever inside the pipe to deflate the cork that Paria plugged it up with. It was simple enough, but as they tried to pull the lever, it just wouldn't budge. They decided they needed a wrench in order to free the lever, so Kazim Ali Jr. volunteered to swim back to the surface to grab one. The disturbing event that followed is all caught on Kazim's GoPro camera. So at this point, we see Kazim swim into the habitat and hand the wrench to one of the divers near the pipe. After some fidgeting with the pipe, it happens. Don't blink or you'll miss it. It happens really fast. In that split second that the lever was freed, the cork was deflated, breaking the airtight seal it was holding. This created a vacuum effect that rapidly sucked everything into the pipe. All the air, water, people, equipment, it was like a black hole. In the video, we hear over a minute of them just being pulled through the pipe, with all their equipment being thrashed against them, all while having to hold their breath this entire time. Eventually, the pressure in the pipe equals out, and they stop in an air pocket in the middle of the pipe. We can hear them speaking to each other, disoriented, talking about what just happened.
I ain't 35 too. I trying to come up. Chris, get around. Yeah.
While in the pitch black pipe, we hear them checking on each other to make sure everyone is okay.
Can everything alright with you? No. Any elements break? Your leg, alright. Five. Anything happen to you? Yeah. A five? No way. Can anything happen to you? Yusuf, anything happen to you? Yeah, boy. What happened? Break. Alright.
They also try to get a grasp of their surroundings by figuring out where everyone is oriented.
Yeah. Alright behind you? You're right behind me? Yeah. You don't know when to come up? Who making all that noises?
During this, they figure out that Christopher Budrum is the one closest to the direction where the entrance of the pipe is. This is when they make a plan.
Come on, all that we let's figure it out. We gotta go. We gotta start moving.
They end up having to link up with each other, with their feet under each other's shoulders, and then use their feet to push up against the pipe to slowly make their way up. Keep in mind, this pipe was only 30 inches wide. For reference, here's an image someone posted of a 36-inch pipe, so you can see how cramped up it is. The pipe these 5 men were in was smaller than this. As they slowly exhaust themselves pushing their way through this pipe, they come across their first obstacle, a section of the pipe that was flooded. This really freaked them out because there was no way to know how long the flooded section was. For all they knew, if they tried to get through it, they might end up drowning. But at the same time, if they didn't move at all, they might not receive any help. Christopher and Faisal were the only 2 that were willing to make the attempt. So, leaving the other 3 behind, they took a deep breath and pushed through the flooded section of the pipe. Luckily, they make it through to another air pocket. And in this air pocket, Christopher found 2 scuba tanks, which he and Faisal could use to get through any further flooded sections. They continued their journey through this pipe, making their way through flooded section after flooded section, until eventually Faisal loses it and starts freaking out. He just couldn't take it anymore, and he refused to continue. This is when Christopher realized that he had to continue alone. He continues through the pipe until he finally reaches the end of the horizontal section of the pipe. So close to freedom, he swims up the vertical section, and when he reaches the top, he realizes that the water level wasn't high enough for him to get out, so he's still stuck. The only thing that helped him stay afloat was that there was a chain dangling into the pipe that Christopher could hold on to while he was waiting. Later that night, 2 rescue divers arrived who were able to pull him out of the pipe. When he was lifted from the pipe, he was met by the Paria Emergency Response Team and the Tobago Coast Guard. He immediately told them that 4 other divers were still down there and needed help. They essentially told him that it was too dangerous to go down there before they assessed the condition of the pipe. Christopher was so worried about his team that he actually tried to go back down there to get them himself, but he was stopped. For the next 2 days, it seemed like absolutely nothing was being done to help the other 4 divers in the pipe. The families of the divers were worried and the media was looking for answers. One of the people that helped rescue Christopher spoke out in a media briefing about how they were prevented from trying to continue the rescue effort.
We still had time to save them, guys. Still had time. But you know what the orders they get? The orders they get was to plug the flange and block the divers from surfacing back up where we rescued the first man. Why would you give an order like that and block the only entrance the fellas know to surface for help?
On February 27th at 7:30 p.m., the Paria chairman, Newman George, announced that the divers were presumed dead and the rescue operation has now been converted into a body recovery operation. This didn't sit well with people. These 4 divers were stuck in that pipe for 2 days, crying out for help, and now they're gone because nothing was done to rescue them. This didn't seem right. Very quickly, people started asking questions about why nothing was done. The concerns were so strong that the next day the Energy Ministry held a media briefing where the minister announced that an independent investigation would be conducted on this. A commission of inquiry was set up to investigate the incident and decide how to proceed from here. The hearing was filled with emotion at times, especially when Christopher Boudrum spoke about the event.
Everything inside me hope and a rescue was going on. Nobody was making an attempt to rescue me. You know what I mean?
Perea employees testified that the reason it was difficult to start a rescue operation was because they first wanted to assess the condition of the pipe. They were told by diving experts that it was too risky to send any rescuers in without endangering anyone else's lives.
Perea also took action to say, listen, hold up. Are you sure you want to dive in there? Because these are the risks too, huh? Someone's lives could be lost, huh? It's a balancing act, right?
A terminal operations manager at Perea named Colin Piper insisted that this wasn't as simple as just sending some divers in. This was a very unique situation that no one had training in. He testified that he made the best decision to not risk any more lives.
In this industry, lives are lost regularly with people entering into confined spaces out of emotion and out of instinct, not understanding the dangers in confined spaces.
Even LMCS, the company that Perea hired to do the maintenance, was put under the microscope as a potential party to share the blame. Some members of the commission felt LMCS should have done something to mitigate the danger of such an event occurring.
And you realize that the removal of the barriers is the trigger that caused this event while we're here today?
I'm not going to say that, no.
You don't consider the removal of the barriers resulted in this?
I don't want to say that, no.
The investigation was long and thorough, and we still don't have an exact answer to the final conclusion yet. This is still ongoing. The final report on the investigation was originally supposed to be submitted at the end of May of this year, but then it was extended to August. So by the end of this month, we should know what the final report concludes. This is one of the most disturbing ocean-related stories I've come across, which says a lot given the recent influx of ocean events. I can't imagine how awful it must feel for Christopher, being the only one of his crew to escape, knowing the others had to sit in a cramped up space in the pitch black, crying for help while waiting to die. I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemies. Thank you for watching, and I will see you on the flip side.